Hello, welcome back. How have you been? I'm Leofrine and I want to teach you how to make a Victorian puzzle purse, which is this baby right here. Basically, in Victorian times, there were no envelopes, so they would just fold letters and seal them with wax. Apparently, this was the fold for romantic letters. So I'm using an A4 paper and folding a square like the origami technique. And then you just cut this rectangle, and I don't like to use a ruler or scissors. Just trust the geometry of folding and fold it really harshly. Be assertive. Trust the process. And then every time you fold back again so that it's easier to make the new fold, because basically you're going to do a lot of folding on one way and then folding on the opposite way, as you see. For these three, really trust the process, because see, when you get them, you just pressure it and it will be perfect. See, right now you just fold back, be a little bit patient. I obviously fast forward this. And then you will do this extra diagonal, this extra triangle for all the corners. And this is important because this is how it folds into the middle piece, as you will see. Make sure everything is done with a lot of strength, in lack of a better word. Then this part here, it's really easy. Like the first time I attempted this, it was super hard because I hadn't folded with enough strength. So now it almost folds itself, and then I just have to make these final parts. And then here, don't worry if it's not perfect, because life is not perfect. And also when you paint it, you can paint over these imperfections and you can make it perfect yourself, which is also fun. So I will unfold it again for you to see. See how easy it is when everything is folded with enough pressure. You see, you also need to be patient, but look, pop, it just goes in. Here you go, you have a Victorian puzzle piece. You can find the painting process in the timestamps below. If you want to listen to the whole story, sit back, relax, and enjoy the full story. I had the idea for this back in Berlin. I was looking through zine ideas on Pinterest and I stumbled upon this Victorian puzzle purse. So I put it on my idea box. We got to Sicily. I was in the sun with my friend Sasha, and she is very excited to show me what she has just painted, and it was a Victorian puzzle purse. And as the little witch that I am, of course I believe in synchronicity. So I thought, okay, I have to do one while I'm here, while I'm in Sicily. And this black and white one that I did, it's an intuitive drawing. For the first time, I did it with pen, not with pencil. And I promised myself that I would finish it. And I think I did it for 2 or 3 days straight. I took it to the beach this weekend, was wow, amazing weather, 19 degrees. I was also reading Miro biography, and even though it's not related, every time I read about his work, I just feel inspired to paint. I read half a page and I'm inspired to paint. So I was on fire, basically. As you can see, the heart on fire. I'm very basic. By the end of it, I had this, and you see these white spaces. I thought, you know what, I will write on them. And yeah, I wanted to write my own things. Thing is, and I hate when this happens, I became attached to this little piece of paper, and I didn't want to ruin it with bad poetry, because I'm not a poet, even though I like writing and I enjoy it a lot. But I wanted it to be really nice, and so I thought a real poet should write it. And somebody with good calligraphy that gets inspired by this. And I thought, you know what, maybe I could have something like this in my store. Everyone could write something on this and actually send it away. So I thought of making this a product in my store, which, turning art into product is a whole thing. I would love to know your opinion. Do you think this is still art? Because sometimes I really feel you have to take a stand and say this is not illustration, this is art. But honestly, this one got me. If I'm gonna design it, I need to use color, I'm gonna use gouache. So this is the first gouache painting that I've done actually. I loved it, by the way. The fact that you can activate it is with watercolors, like so many times I would paint something and like the texture of the brush, like you could still see it. And with gouache, you just put more water. You can still play with it the day after. The thing is, if I wanted to test to my patients, this was one, especially because I used 120-gram paper. I needed to be able to fold it properly. I think it's a letter in the end. It shouldn't be really like thick paper. I like the texture like this. It means that I have to be really careful with the amount of water that I use, that I wait for it to dry. The idea for the design came from different places. So first was from Patreon. I started like this monthly challenge with my community. There's a prompt and we make a drawing or like an illustration or whatever, a piece for the month. Because this month was like Women's Day, I wanted to make it about anger because there's too many flowers on Women's Day and there's too many issues to be solved. And with that, as you've seen in the previous video, in the room that I was painting in Sicily, there's like this symbol of Medusa, and I was so inspired by her. I mean, whole tragic story, and the way she dies as well. I mean, it's such a patriarchal, terrible story. I thought it would go well together. And then I also added some symbols of power in me. Like, well, I don't want to talk too much about that. I feel like that would be like a whole video or a whole series of videos. So this was the inspiration behind it. That was one part of it. And the other is because, well, while I was researching about it, I stumbled upon a lot of Victorian things, obviously. So I was so excited about that. Why I put like these frames, why I organized the designs the way I did, Victorian aesthetics. I thought it made this whole like darkness, the repression that was behind the empowerment drawings, romanticizes it and makes it very soft. And I love this strength in softness. And that's what this piece symbolizes to me. Close it with a moth because it's also like the symbol of like transformation and rebirth. Honestly, I feel that in every art piece, this is again something that I would like your opinion on, if you feel it as well when you paint or whenever you create something, that there is a part of you that is reborn. There is a part of you that is a little bit dissolved. If you really go into yourself, I don't really know how to explain it because it's not logical. It's not that I'm processing my feelings while I'm drawing on purpose. It's just like it happens when you are in the creation process. Like you're painting for 4 hours straight, and I find it very different than digital painting. If you spend like 4 hours straight painting, then you make a little break, and then you go and then you paint for hours again, and your back hurts, but you keep at it. And this somehow, like without you realizing, dissolves blockages in your soul. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it sounds too woohoo, but you should try it and tell me and tell me if you feel the same, because I really think you could achieve this like by paint, like, you know, these mandala exercises. Like you don't have to be an artist to do it. It's just this meditative state for hours on end, repetitive, creative task. It really helps you like listen to your body as well and not just your mind. If this makes sense to you, let me know. Please. Another thing I wanted to share regarding this piece is that sometimes I have a lot of creative energy and I try not to do anything else, even though I have other projects that I really try to push myself. And even though I think you always need to push yourself to sit down and work, regardless if it's creative work, if it's whatever kind of work. But sometimes we think we have to do things in a specific way, and we don't really like trust our instinct to sometimes digress a little bit, to come back. And I really want to exercise this more. My instinct was telling me to draw in between, paint something while I was waiting for it to dry. I will draw something with the paint that is still wet. And so I started these drawings that I did with layers. So first I was painting all the green bits in the Victorian puzzle purse, and then I would paint green here. And then when I was using blue, I would then use blue here, and so on. And I've never tried that. It was very intuitive. This was very intuitive, which also, because that one is intuitive, like the composition, but I really wanted to look in certain ways. I don't know, because I felt really restrained. It was really nice to have somewhere where I could just make mistakes, you know? Like I really have a clear vision of where I wanted for this Victorian thing. So it felt really good to just release myself from time to time and then come back to this like very more detail oriented, is more, you know what I mean. I also did this, like none of this, I feel like they are not finished. Yeah, I had fun and I just wanted to share it because I think this really helps. And then I finished off with this little dragon. I wanted to share this because I think it really helps with procrastination as well. This discernment of realizing, like, am I pushing myself because maybe I'm being a little bit lazy, maybe I'm being afraid of making a mistake so I don't do it? Or am I pushing myself because I have this idea that this is how you work, so if you want to have something done, you want to do it, insisting on the same project for like 3 days straight, which is what happened with this one. But just sometimes allowing the impulses to come and having like this balance between finishing something but also allowing for digressing, in lack of a better word. I think this is all I have to say for this project. Let me know what you think. I wanted to thank everyone that subscribed in the last week because it means a lot. Welcome to the community. I'm very grateful. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye.